Well, you are on notice this morning by the Pastronaut. Jason and Alicia here with you on this Monday morning after another Vikings victory.
I will say it was a perfect Sunday. In the football department, in the weather department, John, we were able to get outside. We did chalk, we did yard work.
Yes. I mean, it's fun. I'm a fan favorite. I go all across everywhere. I'm like, hey, I did this, and then I'll hide for a while. 38 degrees, kiddos, so grab a coat and then shed the layers. It's kind of that awkward time of the year again where this week I think you'll need both coat and like t-shirts. 39 now, we've dropped a little bit. This is still a cool start. We've dropped 20 degrees now from yesterday's high. Wilmer hanging out at 28. Otherwise, everyone else is well above the freezing mark in the upper 30s or right around 40 like we're at in the Mankato stretch. So today, winds are much lighter. That is the biggest difference. Now, remember, the sun doesn't do anything anymore for us because it's like non-existent. So how do you warm up? Winds. So the winds are lighter, so the temperature's coming down. Tomorrow, the winds are up. We'll track how high that temperature goes in your forecast.
All right, thanks, John. Still a really great commute as we begin our 6 o'clock hour here. Nothing across the metro that's going to slow you down. Here's a look at Bloomington 494 near West Bush Lake Road. Of course, that area dealing with ongoing construction right now, though, as you can see. No issues with traffic. And here is kind of the Coon Rapids area, I think. Highway 10 near Hanson, also looking good. Jason?
All right, Jen, thank you very much. 6:02, and we are following breaking news this morning. A violent 7 hours in Uptown after reports of at least 2 shootings.
In the last few hours, we've learned at one of the scenes, 3 people were shot. 2 of them were young kids inside of a house. So take a look at the map on your screen. You can see the scenes were less than 10 blocks apart from each other. One at Lyndale and Lake, the other at 28th and Girard. Cece's live in Uptown with new details that we've learned overnight. Cece, what can you tell us?
Hi, good morning. Well, we can tell you we've been here just a few blocks away from that 28th and Girard scene this morning where those children were shot. Within the past 2 hours this morning, we have been in contact with police just to get any new details about what happened during the shooting and then also the aftermath. Of course, it's still early hours, so we're still waiting for more details about that. But we did learn new information from a relative who was right at the scene when the shooting happened. And they told our crews on scene that this started at 11 o'clock last night, and they were on the couch when they heard about a dozen or more shots come from the alley right by the home. The relative says the shots pierced through the walls and shattered a window too. Just a while ago, we mentioned that 3 people were shot, 1 adult, 2 kids, and according to that relative, the 2 kids were just playing video games when they were shot. Now, as of this morning, we know that the kids are both at HCMC, but at this point, we're still waiting to learn more about their condition. Jason, Alicia.
Thank you. We're also looking into a police scene about 8 blocks away on Lyndale and Lake. Our photojournalist captured this video. You can see police tape up and evidence markers as well as bullet casings on the ground. We reached out to police overnight for more information on what happened. If we learn anything, you'll be the first to know. Well, in the next few hours, crews in Minneapolis will start demolishing the empty Kmart building on Lake Street, less than a month after a massive fire there.
Our Eva Anderson is on scene right now with the details. Eva, good morning.
Good morning. After removing items from within the building, today the city will begin demolishing the building's walls. This comes 3 weeks after a fire tore through the building, leaving much of it damaged and speeding up the demolition process that was originally scheduled for spring. Now, the sooner they begin demolition, the sooner the city can kick into action their plans to redevelop the area. The new Nicollet redevelopment project will reopen Nicollet Avenue between Lake Street and Cecil Newman Lane. The city has 3 concepts for the public space and 4 ideas for reimagining Nicollet Avenue. The development also calls for commercial space as well as affordable housing. Back to you.
Eva, thank you. Now to the ceasefire standstill between Israel and Hamas. Israel says there's no chance of a ceasefire until Hamas releases all of its hostages. NBC's Josh Letterman is in Tel Aviv right now with new details overnight.
The U.S. is stepping up its efforts to try to free those hostages from the Gaza Strip. A top White House envoy heading here to Israel and to Qatar to try to broker a deal, as the U.S. says it believes there may be 9 Americans brought to Gaza as hostages, but doesn't know how many of them at this point are still alive. And the healthcare situation in the Gaza Strip continuing to deteriorate, more and more hospitals out of service. The World Health Organization is now calling for an immediate ceasefire, saying that the largest hospital in Gaza is no longer functioning. They say the situation is perilous. We'll have much more coming up on Today.
6:06, and we are getting a live picture right now from Capitol Hill where the countdown is on. Lawmakers need to come up with a plan to fund the federal government or else it will shut down on Friday. The House is expected to vote on a Republican bill tomorrow that would fund some parts of the government through the end of the year. The plan doesn't include any funding requested by President Biden for Israel, Ukraine, or the U.S.-Mexico border. Right now, a rematch is underway to represent Minneapolis and its immediate suburbs in Congress. In the last 24 hours, former Minneapolis City Council member Don Samuels announced that he's challenging Ilhan Omar again for her seat in Congress. He lost a close race against Omar last year. This time around, he thinks he'll have more time and more resources to convince voters he is a viable alternative in the 5th District.
My opponent is divisive, to be honest, and simple. She creates problems when there are none, and she exacerbates problems when there are.
Representative Omar responded to Samuels' candidacy in a statement defending her track record, saying she is proud of the model of co-governance she has built in the 5th District. She also listed some of her accomplishments in Congress and questioned the motives of some of Samuels' donors, arguing that they have connections to Republicans and Donald Trump.
If you haven't cashed your state rebate check just yet, you have to do it soon. The Minnesota Department of Revenue says about 150,000 paper checks were sent out in September. Those will expire this month and will need to be reissued. If that happens, your money will be sent out in 2 batches, 1 check later this month and another will come in December. The Vikings may be one of the hottest teams in the NFL this morning, holding on to the longest win streak in the league as of now.
As of right now, the win streak over the Saints makes it 5 in a row now. Josh